Hi and a warm welcome from Carl. It's me from WoodenDataCenter. There's one question that I often have to address with building WoodenDataCenter, most obviously being the one about fire. We have covered that in length in other videos and other descriptions. But here's the one about Carl. Everybody tells me I have to grow forest in order to incorporate carbon. Why are you advocate to build in wood, and what's happening with the carbon associated to that? Okay, so let's jump into that. So here's the easiest picture I've found about the forest carbon cycle. Obviously, we are concerned about CO2 in the atmosphere. Starting on top, and live vegetation obviously takes the CO2 out of the atmosphere and incorporates it in their plants and grows. From there, you have actually a couple of options. Standing dead vegetation, a tree ages or dies due to overheating or all those causes you see sometimes now publicated. Degrading biology means it goes back into the atmosphere. Cut down or forest floor based wood is the same way. It's degrading and is giving CO2 back in the atmosphere. Some of that CO2 still comes to humus, goes into the soil. Some of it is in the process. The soil is also a living organism. Becomes CO2, goes back into the atmosphere. So some of what we can do is from the harvested wood. Obviously, if you have wooden fuel or wood for burning, that goes very quickly back into the atmosphere. But wooden products are actually a way to temporarily store the carbon for decades or centuries. The oldest living wooden infrastructures are over 1,100 years old. And so that is a way to over the life cycle of a wooden product to store the carbon, and it makes sense to more and more be able to take out of the growing forest to store carbon in wooden products. If they move into landfills, start degrading, same thing, CO2. Becomes CO2. If we put some numbers towards this, you can see that the forest is taking up a lot of CO2. These are numbers from Europe, from 1.5 million square kilometers of forest, which are absorbing 100 teragrams of carbon more than they emit. If you look at, I looked up teragrams to the kilogram, so those are 1 teragram is a billion kilograms, about 1 million tons. So massive amounts. You see, again, the wood product sink is relatively small and about equal about what is emitted in fires. So the biggest part of the forest is decomposition, biodegrading, what I said in the earlier slide. There are some things going into the soil. A lot of is going into the forests. The wood product decomposition is also quite significant. And also some of that is going via the river. So it is important to grow your forest, but it's also important to take out wood and temporarily store it in wood-based products. That is an effect that can increase, the amount of carbon we can bound. If we go, from wood product sink, if we double that, we easily, can make a 10% improvement of the carbon that is bound each year. some other numbers in the out of the Forst reports is the cumulated carbon, which the one that's interesting, had a peak of emitting in gigatons carbon around 2009, and is now moving towards zero. So by interesting forest management, we should be able to turn this into negative, or this is what all the effects are now being trying to do to move that to the negative. Interestingly, see we a growth in the biomass density, the carbon per hectare. So that is whether it's primary or managed forest, that is going up. But we also see a massive loss of forest land in a global context. So that is important to know, that our primary forests are lost, and also the overall management forest. We're doing more and more, or the primary forests see more protection from around 2010 on. It's slower, but it's still, we see a lot of loss there. Summarizing, this is, the alternative to wood would be steel and carbon, which is emitting a lot more and creating a way bigger problem for the planet. So I advocate for sustainably removing wood out of forest. Obviously, if a tree would start to be dead or decomposed, you just take it out and use it. And by doing so, you eventually have one tool to grow and to temporarily bind more carbon than what is happening now, with absolute limitations on how much wood we can take out. And we need to be respective of the age structure in the forest. But most forests you see and you walk through, you see very much of monoculture, and when it's cut down all at once and at great lengths. So it would be better to move to a bit of a different structure. I hope this explains a little bit of the forest carbon cycle, why I advocate to use wood, why you can still use wood, take it out of the forest, and how what we need to do to manage our forests better and to create more and more wood products. Thanks so much. If you have any questions, let me know.